Now we're going to practice our square roots. So the square root of 64, we're thinking what number times itself is 64? Well, that number would be 8, because 8 times 8 is 64. And remember, 8 times 8 is the same as 8 squared. So squaring 8, that's squaring a number, and square root is the opposite. All right, what number times itself is 49? That would be 7 times 7, so my answer is just 7. What number times itself would give me 81? So the square root of 81 is 9. And the last one up here on the top, what number times itself is 121? Well, the square root of 121 is 11. So let's go ahead and do our common perfect squares, and this is the chart that I would like for you to memorize. Now, most times you're only going to memorize up to 12 squared, but I wanted to give you some additional ones just so that you could see some other common ones that may appear. Well, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. Remember, all of these exponents of 2, this is really saying 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, and so on. So 4 times 4 is 16, then we have 25, 36, 49, 64, 81. So that's just the top row here. If you need to pause real quick, go ahead and do that, but then we're going to continue. 10 squared, 10 times 10 is 100, 11 times 11 is 121, 12 times 12 is 144, 13 times 13 is 169, 14 times 14 is 196, and 15 times 15 is 225, and 16 times 16 is 256. 20 times 20 is 400. Be careful, we skipped from 16 up to 20. And then 25 squared is 625. Now, some of you may have already noticed that down below, all of these answers, 1, 4, 9, 16, and so on, those are all the perfect square roots we're going to talk about next. So now we're going to take the square root of all these numbers we found. The square root of 1 will be 1. The square root of 4 will be 2. The square root of 9 will be 3. The square root of 16 will be 4, and so on. Same thing with all of these down here on the bottom row. You're going to see those numbers again down here doing the inverse operation, common square roots. The square root of 1 is 1. So that's asking what number times itself was 1. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 36 is 6. Some of you are noticing a pattern here. Now, these won't always be in order when you're practicing them, but in our notes we do have them in order. So make sure that you memorize these as well. You can even make flashcards. The square root of 100 is 10, 121 is 11, and 144 is 12. Now again, you can look up here, and the square root of 169 was the answer to 13 squared. So you can also reverse the chart you did up above. So the square root of 169 is 13, square root of 196 is 14, 225 is 15, square root of 256 is 16. Now be careful, the next one's not 17, it is 20, and the square root of 625 is 25.